I got a question from Mel here. I always like to take questions from Mel. Mel, what's going on, my friend? Does Doug have other suggestions for capturing valuable, engaging content for use later? And thank you, Bianca, for seconding that.
100%. Like, you can never have enough footage. And the interesting thing, and this is a little bit more on the brain science, when we build relationships with people, they're usually anchored in specific moments in time. And you probably all have been to trade shows. You're like, oh, I remember meeting this person. We went to this specific restaurant and we did this after. Like, you end up creating anchors and foundations of new relationships. And people generally do a poor job of going back to some of those anchors. And it can be as simple as like just taking photos. It can be taking videos. If there's a keynote speaker, whether they're famous or not, or had a really good slide, being meticulous about documenting those points in time and then sharing them is incredibly valuable, even up to a year later. I mean, we all get the notifications, hey, a year ago, this happened on our phone. It might be that trade show. And if you become disciplined about finding the value, and this goes back, Matt said this at the beginning, like, understand why your prospect's there. And if that's answered by a keynote speaker or something you saw, and you're able to re-deliver that value on a social post, ideally video is better, you're able to reinstill, like, it's, oh, this person understands what I'm looking for. And now I have a reason to connect. And when you do the post show, you're able to say, hey, I know we talked at the show, we met at the show, not sure if you got to attend all the sessions, but here's the 5 big takeaways. And it's a video you guys created. That's an incredible follow-up tool, because you're going to continue from that point in time when you met, deliver value. And now there's a reason to follow up, not just like, hey, I want you to buy from me. Like, you can lead with value. So the more disciplined you are about figuring out, like, what is it that I'm taking away that these people need to have, the better that content's going to land, and the better that it's going to have the stickiness to take off with other prospects similar to those people.
One of the things that I took away from Exhibitor Live and talking to event marketers, one of the themes I took is that so many of these people that I spoke to, they're there to get better. They want to be better. They want to know what's next. How can they solve this problem? How can they get their program from here to there? So for me, that just made me want to double down on what we were doing, because we were having conversations that maybe a clip, they would be like, oh shit, we haven't done that. That would be great, right? Like, those clips would help, as you're saying, capturing value and engaging content for later down the road. And I think it all goes back to, when you're at those shows, who is your audience? Why are they there? And then how can you bring them value? And if you can find a way to capture, a lot of people try to capture themselves as being, I don't want to say being cool, because not like that, but they try to capture, like, oh, look at our booth or what we're doing. How can you capture stuff that is selfless, that is then going to your customer? That, for me, and it's challenging. It's not easy, but I think that's definitely a direction to push.
If you're willing to take the time, and just, it's free. You can go something called Loom. Go shoot a Loom video and send it to your ideal prospects. Take the time to show them, like, hey, Matt, really excited to see you at the show. Hopefully you're going to be attending. We're going to be at booth 1, 2, 3, 4. When you get there, look for me. I have something specific to help you solve XYZ problem. If you can just reply and confirm what days you might stop by, I'll make sure I'm in the booth to see you. Just be very intentful and actively prospect. And I know that leading into shows, and this is why, going back to Matt's original question, why we put so much work, when you get alignment between sales and they're accountable and they're doing the activities, you will have exponentially better results than you've ever seen before.
So Jeff, when I'm thinking video, there's a few things. One of the things that I thought about was, there is a company, you can look them up on LinkedIn, they're called Lavender. They do some really creative video marketing, in my opinion. And there's another one, I forget the name of the company. They do some really funny videos. Now, these are produced, so it does depend on budget. It does depend on what you have, but they've built these campaigns. Lavender does a good job with what I would say low budget, creative type, but coming up with something that is like funny, humorous, a little bold to draw attention to and build a campaign around. Now that does take some budget though, right? My other thought is using the event to create video that you then repurpose to extend the life of the event and promote yourself at following events, right? Because I think when you're at an event, you can really use anything from drone footage to podcast footage to just B-roll, whatever it may be, to create videos that you can then use down the line. So it's another thought is like leverage the in-person event to create content for down the road, which will help you pre-market yourself and post-market yourself.
You know, to build on that, like one of the best things you can do as a salesperson, if you're at the actual event, go around and record yourself just doing, hey, I'm at XYV event this week. Here's the 3 top things I've learned, or the 3 top things doing, or hey, here's where you can find the best coffee spot if the lines are too long at X. Go into Twitter, go into social, just post those little things. You said, hey, if you come find me, coffee's on me. Like you can gamify the at show event using video and break through some of the clutter. Real simple, like iPhone, if you have like earpods, audio matters, but like Matt said, and then even post event, if you can do a wrap up, if it's more of like an informational event, like most marketing conferences, for example, like, hey, here's the 10 trends out of X show, break down that and do a video, post it on LinkedIn, Twitter, and then just follow up with anybody that engages. One other quick thing, and this is more something we've done recently within LinkedIn, leading up to the event, at the event, post show, however you want to curtail the copy, using LinkedIn polls is really effective because it allows you to see who has engaged with your post and you can instantly follow up and DM those people. So even if something as simple as like, hey, who's going to X conference? And don't be afraid to go into some event groups and post that. Like if there's an industry association, you want to know who's going. If you're a salesperson, go into those. You can do it with video, like post a video, say, hey, really excited to be going to this. Who else is coming? Just leave a little poll below. Boom. There, you're going to curate a list of people, send them a DM before the event. Hey, I noticed you replied, you're going to be at the event. Let's connect. I'm taking a bunch of people out for whatever.
Last piece I have on this, it just got me thinking. I have a friend of mine. He went to the Amazon has their own trade show. It's like a reseller show. So he was exhibiting his company. He had a small booth there. He asked, I thought this was very creative. He asked me to do a podcast with him. And what he was going to do, he interviewed me and asked me all these questions about how to get the most out of a trade show, how to get the most out of an event, how to get the most out of networking and being at this conference. He then took that, made all these videos and sent it out to a lot of the exhibitors and the attendees like 3-4 weeks prior to the show, and as a gift, saying like, hey, we're all going to be at this show. I know we're all looking to gain something from it. Here's some tips from a person in trade shows and events. That I thought was interesting, and it was all video content, so it was easy to consume. That was pretty sharp.